Greetings, my name is Dr Julius Kimani, and this is 10 Minutes with Dr Julius Kimani. Now today I want to talk about a very simple thing, something that will change your mentality concerning the way you look at that man, and something that will also change you as a man when you begin to understand the things that cause you to behave the way you behave. Now I say that a man naturally is controlled by three things, and two of them are hormones, and one of them is an organ. And I know probably you may be thinking about organ and you're thinking, what is it? But I will be coming to that place after this. But I want to begin to explain a few things that happen to us as men, that you will be able to understand why certain things happen. Now, to go back, when a boy child is in the womb, there is something that is so amazing that happens. And this is between the 6th week and the 13th week. There is a release of a hormone called testosterone. Now testosterone, most of us think it is what makes men just pursue after women or behave sometimes competitively, but it does more than that. Now when that hormone is released in a boy's body, the first thing that it changes drastically is the brain. Now I explain a little bit. The brain, if you remember your science lesson when you're in primary, is divided into two hemispheres. Now the left and the right. In between, there is a network of fibers that is called the corpus callosum. Now this network of fibers enable information to pass from one side of the brain to the other side of the brain and vice versa. Now when the testosterone hormone is released in the boy's body, then it makes that boy, the brain of that young man, to change completely. And this is what happens. The network of fibers in the brain thickens. Understand that word, thickens. Meaning, just like you take a natural wire, a thicker wire passes current or electricity faster. Slower, but a thicker one, a thinner one passes it in a better, quick way. And so what happens is that the information from the left side of the brain to the right side and the vice versa suddenly becomes slowed in men. And that is where you find most men, emotionally, they are very slow. Anything that has an emotional component, most men have a problem in conceiving it and understanding it. I give a simple example. You may get a man, he comes home, he has been given some promotion at work, and he doesn't even look like he's celebrating. In fact, he'll come home and tell himself, I've been promoted. And the wife is excited and saying, that is so nice, can we party about it? Even she may throw a party because of simply that promotion. But a man simply is like, yeah, that's a promotion. But a week later, as a wife, you suddenly hear the guys are celebrating. It's because the information about the promotion and the emotion that entail it has suddenly been perceived, and it has been conceived, and now it has become a reality, and they began to promote. I usually tell women, don't be shocked when your husband does not perceive, or your brother, or even a man at the office does not understand how you feel. Because men, when it comes to feelings and emotions, because of that network of fiber, it is really slowed. You find probably, even if you give information, for example, an accident has happened, men are factual, they are logical. The first thing, probably tell a woman they had an accident. Oh, how many ladies, how many people have died? Maybe 10. How many men? And she's like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm trying to imagine what the children will feel. Now, as the same information given to a man, will begin to ask, where did it happen? He's collecting facts. How many cars were involved? How many are dead? Is there anybody that is alive? Now maybe 2-3 days later is when he starts maybe picking up the emotion. It is really sad that so and so or certain men died. So what am I saying? The testosterone hormone changes the way men react concerning emotions. Now something else you find that in most homes brings a lot of arguments. A wife will ask her husband, what do you want to eat today? And the guy says, anything. And so you cook anything. And after that he comes and tells, I wish you made chapatis or you made ugali. And the wife is like, but I asked you. But at that particular time, the guy is not able to process the emotion and the feelings behind eating that certain amount, certain food, maybe it's chapatis. He's not been able to process it. And so when you asked him and you begin to cook, that's when he begins to process, and probably by the time you're done, he realizes, no, I didn't want this type of food. So that causes a lot of arguments in so many places, simply because you're like, this guy does not have, this guy is so dead in his emotions. That is what the first thing that testosterone does. Secondly, the communication ability for men becomes also slowed down. Men, the development and communication is heavily on one side of the brain. So you find men have fewer words, and so whether it is your son or your husband or a brother, he comes home and you ask, how are you? He says, fine. How was your day? Good. And as a lady, probably you're waiting for explanation. Ask a lady the same question, how was your day? She'll say fine, but then she will give a narration of how and what happened immediately she stepped out of the door. Maybe a cat passed by. She was like, there was a black cat. I'm really wondering if she will give you the story of how she got into the car, how the weather was, and she will give a narration of probably the whole day. And as most men, they'll be like, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I even ask that question? And when it comes to a man, he communicates so less, he says so few words, and this frustrates most women, because they're like, if you go to your father, you ask him a question, he'll give you one answer. You go to your brother, you ask him a question, he'll give you one answer. But what I challenge is that, as a man, understand how to deal with probably your wife or the females in your life. When they ask a question to you, at least add somebody to the communication. Try to explain a little bit more, because that will help you. But at the same time, if you are a lady and if you're another man, and you're wondering why somebody just says one word and keeps quiet and you get so bored, it is simply because of that hormone testosterone. Now, there is something else that happens when it comes to testosterone. It makes men competitive. Now, if you're a man, imagine, how do you feel when you get out of the car, or when you get into a car and you get out of your house? The first thing that happens is like, if a vehicle overtakes you, the next thing you're having a race against that vehicle. You're not going the same direction, you're not even, don't know each other, but it's simply a competitive thing, because that's the way men are wired. Now look at boys playing outside. Boys will never play a game that is not competitive. They will never be like, girls, that let us just hold hands and sing. They will never sing. If it is singing, there has to be, let us do it in a competitive way. If it is something to do with running, they have to run. There has to be. That's why boys love playing thieves and robbers and policemen, because they want to compete. If you're a robber, you want to see, how can I rob without being held? So the things I'm saying, you need to understand the simplicity of some of the things that run in men that can cause it to be so hard for us when you do not understand. So testosterone is such a major factor, and when you understand who you are as a man, or when you as a lady, you understand what runs in a man, you have better relationships and you become happier and you understand each other in a better way. This is Dr. Julius Kimani with 10 minutes, and I wanted to ask you to subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends so that you can become a better people. God bless.